Hi, this is Rachel from 7 and All, and today I'm going to be sharing a November homeschool and life update with you. As we head into December and the Christmas season, I'm looking at all of our kindergarten curriculum and most of the resources we've been using, and I'm realizing we are well past the halfway mark in most of these. And that's not surprising because we didn't really take a summer break this year because we weren't traveling. My husband was working for a good chunk of the summer. I was pregnant. We didn't have other things to do. So we did school through most of the summer. So it's not a surprise, but it does also feel good, especially with having break coming up, knowing a new baby is arriving. It does feel good to know that we are very far along in our curriculum, in some cases about 2/3 of the way. So in Sunlight Science, I think we're 26 weeks into 36 weeks. In our Math with Confidence, we are about 21 weeks into 32 weeks. So we're chugging right along. We've been making really good progress in All About Reading as well. We're in All About Reading Level 2. And there was one activity that I just thought was so cool that we had this month, in which we had little sentences we had to read, like this one. Put the ribbon on the dragon. Don't know if this will focus, or so we had little slips with sentences. Pull the wagon, make the wagon full. We had little sentences, but then they also had little paper cutouts with all of the nouns that were part of these sentences. A ribbon, a dragon, a bulldog, a wagon, and then you had to act out whatever the sentence told you to do using these slips of paper. That activity was a huge hit, a lot of fun, and definitely one of these kind of highlights of using the All About Reading program. This is level 2. Now I think we're in around lesson 41 or 42, so we're actually getting fairly close to about, I guess, 2/3 or so of the way through level 2 as well. We are also in the very last week of Gentle and Classical Preschool, which is aimed toward my preschooler who just turned 4. So we're reading Zin, 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 a Violin this week, which is a really fun book and one that we will definitely come back to during Gentle and Classical Primer as we're going over all the different orchestra instruments. This is a fun one to bring out again and again. We're learning the letter Z, doing our last memory statement cards from Gentle and Classical Preschool. This is my second time using the program. I do have a full review I can link to down below from our first time using it. And in that review, I said that next time I use it, I actually want to use the program more completely. Last time I didn't print out all the memory statement cards because I didn't know how it was going to go. This time, we dove right in. We used all the memory statement cards. We loved it. We used it more fully this time. And it's been an absolute blast. Preschool really is about the quality time, building skills, building the seeds and foundations of ideas that will be with them throughout their life of education. And to me, it's precious and it's valuable. So we've had a great fun time with it. And my son, my little one who just turned 4, it's really cool to see the progress that they make. Just still at their own pace. His progress looks different from his brother's progress at this age. He's got all of his numbers to 10 down. He's loving to write. Both of my boys have really enjoyed learning to write letters and numbers. Writing is something that just really clicks with them, using the pen and pencil marker to write them out. But he's got his numbers down, and then for his letters, I would say he probably knows around half, maybe a little bit more than half, as far as letters that he really has mastered. He has favorites with letters, and letters that are his favorites, he knows. But then letters he doesn't care about, he does not know. So A is cool, C is cool, but B and D, no. He does not find B and D very interesting. He loves E and F, and he loves G. His name starts with G. That's probably his top favorite letter. He loves K and L. He loves M because there's 2 mountains in the letter M. He loves O because it's a circle. He does not love P. I guess that's too much in common with B and D. He loves S because it's a snake, and he loves T because it looks like a cross. He loves W and X, and he loves Z as well. So he has a whole bunch of favorite letters, and then he has other letters which he's just like, not that interesting. The letter I is not super interesting, but J is very interesting. So I just love getting to observe these little quirks of how their minds work, what captures their interest and what does not capture their interest. But we'll get there on the letters. They don't have to be all completely mastered at this point, not by a long shot. But I am definitely seeing signs that he's making some developmental leaps. He's growing in his maturity and what he can handle. And part of me is like, okay, it's time to get started on some new things. But then also part of me remembers we could be having a baby any day now and Christmas is coming. So the sane part of me remembers you don't start anything new when you're about to have a baby and when you're about to have Christmas break. So we are not starting anything new for my 4-year-old just yet, but my gears are starting to turn about what his school will start to shift and look like now that we finished Gentle and Classical Preschool, what new things we'll be adding in. I definitely want to start incorporating this Developing the Early Learner series. I feel he's very ready for this set of workbooks, which are incorporated in Sunlight Pre-K. And probably I will be shifting our morning time now that we're not doing Gentle and Classical Preschool anymore. We'll probably be shifting it to Gentle and Classical Primer, plus some reads thrown in from Sunlight Pre-K as well. That's my tentative plan at the moment, because his attention span is growing, his verbal skills are growing. You're seeing, for both of my boys, I've noticed, that big shift, and a 4-year-old just seems so different compared to a 3-year-old. Suddenly they grow up all of a sudden, and you're like, what happened? But I'm seeing so much readiness. It's exciting. It's fun. I love these years. I love getting to observe all the little changes in their development as they grow. But we're not adding anything new in December. We're just finishing up what we've been doing, throwing in some fun Christmas stuff, and getting ready for a baby to arrive any day now. When it comes to my older son, one thing we've been implementing a lot more of in the last month is letting him do some more independent work, letting him do some of his schoolwork more independently. And I did make a video fairly recently on how to get your child started and build the skills for independent work. I can link to that video as well. But we're in that stage of, equipping him and letting him do more work independently. So I've identified a few things that he can do pretty independently, math being one of those. Once I've taught the lesson or played the game, done the learning activity with him, he can sit down with his worksheet and do the worksheet independently. More and more often, I've been letting him do his Spanish bisyllabus worksheets independently, which are just simple, almost explode the code type worksheets where you're putting syllables together or circling the picture that goes with a Spanish word. He's been able to do those more independently. Sometimes he still has to ask me a question. That's totally fine. And also explode the code itself in English is another one that is a good little independent thing that he can do. I think that equipping him with these skills for doing independent work is definitely going to come in handy once the little one joins our family and our homeschool and we're getting back into our routine in January. Now, in other updates, I mentioned in my last update video, my sister was going to come here to take her SAT, and yes, that happened. It went off smoothly. She flew in for a whirlwind weekend, took the SAT, rocked it. She's already gotten her scores back and is very happy with them, and she's been working on scholarship applications and college applications and all of that grown-up stuff throughout the month of November. I feel like I have not been able to be as helpful as I usually am with applications just because she's not here, so I can't sit down with her at the computer to look at the different details and stuff. But however, she definitely seems to be handling it like a pro and calling us if she has any questions, and just putting in a couple different college applications. With our family, the reality is that we're not going for, dream colleges or super expensive colleges. We are looking for colleges where she can live with somebody who has a house and can take care of her. The general plan is that she was probably going to move to the US and live with my brother. So she's applying to colleges which are in driving vicinity of wherever he lives. We're very practical in that way. And in other updates, as far as my business and my homeschool resources, I did get 2 new resources released, which are literature guides for these 2 books. on my website, and my literature guides are only $3.49 at their normal price. This is The Wednesday Wars by Gary Schmidt. Absolutely fantastic book. Probably one of my all-time favorite middle grade historical fiction reads. This will make you laugh, this will make you cry. Powerfully, masterfully written book with a lot of humor, both comedy and tragedy in it. Fantastic book. And then Where the Mountain Meets the Moon is a great book for diving into Chinese mythology, folk tales, and lore. A very family-centered, family-focused book as well, with beautiful artwork inspired by the art of paper cutting from China in each chapter. So I love how these literature guides turned out. Let me know if you have a title that you want to recommend for my next literature guide to be on. I definitely listen to your requests. Where the Mountain Meets the Moon was requested by some viewers. So, and then this one was very much a book that I think. This one was more of like my pick. But I balance between my own picks and what you guys are asking for. Now, if you've been watching my channel, you know that we are expecting a baby in December, and I've mentioned it earlier in this video. I am 37 weeks now at the time of filming this video. We have made it to 37 weeks. Baby is officially allowed to arrive whenever he wants to, and we're just standing in readiness of whenever that day comes, not making any plans to, not making any huge commitments to anything right now, but just doing faithfully the next thing each day. I have been definitely in a little bit of a nesting mode, doing some deep cleaning or organizing projects, trying to get ahead on housework as much as you possibly can, but you can't really get ahead because the house just gets dirty again. But you know, keeping busy with those kind of projects, keeping busy doing the homeschool things we can do. I do plan to do some fun Christmas crafts. I've already been doing Christmas reading Christmas storybooks, and we have broken out some of the Christmas movies already. But just enjoying this time and standing in readiness whenever we get to welcome a new person into our family. My bags are finally packed now. My backpack for me, a little diaper bag for the baby, and then my husband will just have to throw in his stuff at the last minute because that's how he rolls. But we are ready and waiting in eager expectation for this new gift to join our family. All right, I will be seeing you next time in the next update, and bye.